Yeah. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock this. Let's get it started. Yeah, get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, betcha this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling, welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, and this art he's king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping this track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back. Yeah.
Ooh, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, the hardest part of the ring, back at ya with another Apron Bump podcast. I'm your host, Kyle, and we're here to talk a little WCW. Great American Bash, 1995. Ooh, man, this is a doozy and a half, this show. Man, I hope, you turn this podcast on, you hit play. Boy howdy, I hope you like Jim Duggan. I hope you like Dick Slater. I hope you're interested in Renegade's in-ring debut. And I hope you're interested in fucking rabbits, because that is all on this show. Dave Sullivan. Man, that guy's a character, huh? How about that Dave Sullivan? I'm sorry, Evad. I'm not joking, because like that's all on this show, but honestly, this was a very enjoyable show to watch in reality. I mean, I'm gonna tell you this, WCW, they continue to exceed my expectations, because man, 94, beginning of 95 did not have me optimistic about this year for World Championship Wrestling, but man, their past couple shows, Slamboree was pretty good. This show, Great American Bash, was pretty good as well for the most part. You know, you do have fucking an arm wrestling match and Sergeant Craig Pittman on this show. But you also have Alex Wright versus Brian Pillman, which, from what I've seen thus far, so everything from Spring Stampede 94 up till now, Alex Wright versus Brian Pillman at Great American Bash 1995. Just talking about in-ring, without the context of the storylines or the stakes involved. As far as just the in-ring product, this is the best match that I've seen so far. By a country mile. Close number 2 is the King of the Road match. But Alex Wright versus Brian Pillman. An amazing match. And that opens the show. And, honestly, after watching this whole show, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens on this show. A lot of really major pivot points. But Alex Wright versus Brian Pillman probably left the biggest impression on me. And it's probably what I'll associate this show with going forward, which is a good thing because, man, there is a lot of garbage on this show as well. But, oh, and by the way, this show is headlined by Macho Man versus Ric Flair. So that just goes to show that Brian Pillman and Alex Wright, that just shows how awesome that match was. Even though Macho Man versus Flair was great, I think all the storytelling elements were, it's fucking Macho Man and Ric Flair. You know it's going to be a good match. But it's definitely, it comes off as like they're setting up for something bigger, which is a lifeguard fucking on a pole match, or I don't know what it is. Probably has no payoff, but I enjoyed their match at Great American Bash. We got the Nasty Boys here. We got Harlem Heat. We got Arn Anderson. We got lots of good stuff on this show as well. So I don't want to paint it like this show is just nothing but shit. But it is what it is, I guess. We're deep into 95 WCW, man. Gotta expect a lot of tomfoolery, let's just say. And yeah, fun show to watch, and an even more fun podcast coming at you with my special guest, Brian from the Within the Ropes podcast, wrestling podcast. He does daily post-show reviews of all the major shows, so all the WWE stuff, AEW, as well as some other stuff too. Brian's really, on top of it as far as getting these reviews out early. I was hella impressive, honestly, and I'd tell him that in the podcast. But he does a really good job with it too. Really entertaining podcast. So go check it out, Within the Ropes. You can follow him on Twitter at Within the Ropes, and check out his website, withintheropespodcast.com, to find all his episodes. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts. And we have a good old time. Such a hilarious time with Brian on this episode, even though we butt heads on a few things, namely Jim Duggan and fucking Renegade. Oh man, I'm so disappointed in Brian for, you know what? We'll get into it. But if you enjoy these WCW reviews, go to apronbump.com. That's my website where you can find all of my full episodes. You can go there. You can select the app of your choice in which you listen. And you can also select different timelines and promotions to listen to the entire timeline. So you can go to the episodes tab at apronbump.com. You can select WCW, and it'll bring you to all of my WCW reviews that I've done up to this point. Or you can also select Wrestling Wars of the 90s, and it'll bring you to all of not only WCW, but also WWF and ECW, all done chronologically so you can relive the Wrestling Wars of the 90s as we kind of ramp up here. We're still kind of building to it. We're almost at Nitro. We're almost kind of, sort of, not really that close to the Attitude Era, but we're building towards it slowly but surely. So go check that out, and go check out all of my other episodes as well. But yeah, let's waste no further time. Let's get into it. WCW Great American Bash 1995 with myself and Brian from the Within the Ropes podcast. Oh man, yeah. I was just listening to your AEW review, and man, I'm so happy that I'm not the only one that didn't realize it was FTR. Yeah. CM Punk's like, oh, come on, like, it's clearly, who's gonna say it? We all know it's FTR. I was like, yeah, totally. I knew that. Yeah, right.
Of course.
Look at AEW, always making me feel stupid, but
always. Oh my goodness.
But speaking of AEW, WCW 95. Yeah, pretty much the same, right?
Absolutely. All the same.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to watch the show?
I did.
Thoughts? Well, I guess first, were you a WCW guy growing up?
Yes, I was actually.
Yeah.
I was more of a WCW guy than I was a WWE guy.
Yeah.
For sure.
So were you watching like live the show as it was happening?
Oh yeah. So I started my earliest memory was Bash at the Beach 94.
Okay.
Hogan and Flair. And that was like the earliest that I can remember. Yeah. And then after that, I was just watching it all the time.
Right. Yeah, I feel like that's like when WCW like peak WCW. That's like where it like starts to like ramp up a little bit. Like that's where Hogan debuts, right? Bash at the Beach. Yep. And we're I guess we're like roughly a year after that here at Great American Bash. Hogan's still the top guy here. Yep. But he's actually not on the show, which is a weird move. Were you, I guess if you're watching the show, were you like upset that Hogan wasn't on the card? Or did you even notice?
It was a little hard to notice. It was still a lot going on at that time, with Macho and Flair and everybody else that they were trying to mix in at that time. So it was a little hard to notice, but then at the same time too, I felt like he was more of like the attraction, right? So you weren't gonna get him all the time. So
that's
cool.
No, yeah, that's definitely a good point because if you have a guy showing up every month, all of a sudden he's not as special. So
exactly.
And I feel like this show, because I've been watching all of these WCW shows, 94, 95, and for the most part they're like, I don't even know how to describe it, man, but a lot of them aren't that great, especially in the ring. But this show here was like kind of an outlier because there was actually a lot of good in-ring stuff on this show.
Oh yeah,
I thought, especially the opener, but like all throughout the show.
The opener, man. I mean, when you talk about athleticism, technical, exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the two guys, Alex Wright, who was the young up and comer, Flying Brian, who's sort of the veteran in that situation.
Right.
You can kind of tell throughout the match too that Brian was kind of walking him through the match.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, but yeah, like you said, so like the opening match, so we got Flying Brian Pillman versus Alex Wright. And I think this is like Alex's like second or third match, at least on pay-per-view in WCW. So like you said, he's still very new. Pillman's he's a young guy himself, but he's definitely more established in the company. And yeah, like you said, man, it was just like technically sound, which is like nowadays you're like, okay, we get that everywhere. But 95, especially WCW, this blew my mind watching this.
Yeah.
And it was good because it had like the fast-paced style and all the like the Ranas and the flips and all that stuff, very ahead of its time in a lot of ways. But it also had that kind of element of storytelling to it because Brian being the more experienced guy, I guess, in this match, because they're two pretty evenly matched physically. They're both young guys, similar size, similar style. But Brian uses his experience and his kind of like veteran kind of attitude to kind of take advantage at some points. Because there's like one point where they're like trading all these like fancy moves and chain wrestling and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, Pillman just slaps him in the fucking chest. It's like, oh, no.
Yeah, woke up the crowd a bit when he did that too.
Yeah. But yeah, that added like a bit of intensity to it too. But yeah, a bunch of dives and really good drop kicks and stuff in this match. At one point, Pillman's kind of been beat on for a little bit. Alex Wright tries to whip him into the ropes, but Pillman just falls. I guess I don't know if it's his leg or just the exhaustion of it.
Yeah,
he does it twice. But that damn Brian Pillman playing possum. Because Alex Wright, he tries to take advantage. He goes to the top rope, tries to go for like some sort of flying something, but Pillman hits him with a drop kick in midair.
Boom!
Man, the timing of that was just perfect.
Beautiful.
But ultimately, the finish. Pillman goes for a sunset flip. Alex Wright just kind of drops his weight down, pins him out of nowhere. And yeah, Alex Wright gets the win here. But they hug after, so I guess no bad blood unless I'm, I don't really know what happens after this. Maybe he's just, again, playing possum, learning a false sense of security again. But
right.
Yeah, I love this match. What about you?
It was great, man. Like I said, it definitely felt like, the teacher and a student moment.
Yeah.
Flying Brian, who was, in my opinion, sort of like the veteran going into this match. Alex Wright, the young, fresh upstart. He's got all the heart. He's definitely got all the moves as well. One thing that stood out to me was, Alex Wright he's got a hell of a drop kick.
He does.
The drop kicks, just the fast pace of this match was really, really good to me. And the ending was certainly a surprise. I didn't expect. I also was like, uh-oh, Brian's down. Like, what's going to happen? And then boom, he hit that drop kick out of nowhere. But then obviously Alex Wright was able to, pull it off.
Oh, that German heart of his, just, it overcomes all. You know what pissed me off about this match? I don't think he ever did the dance. Alex Wright.
He did it.
That's what people come to see.
Yeah. I even seen they had cut to the crowd a few times. People had signs of the little dance, wait,
what's the dance again? I forget.
Okay.
All right. I respect it.
You know?
That dance a cappella just doesn't look. That's like one of those dances where you need the music.
Well, with a cappella, you can really just put any kind of music to it.
Yeah. Oh man, I have that footage now. We're recorded. I can do whatever I want with it.
Yes.
You just made a mistake there, sir. That was the Twitter account Taz vibing to music.
Oh boy,
that's gonna be the new one.
Yes.
But speaking of vibing, we got Diamond Dallas Page out here next. Early DDP is a sight to behold. Let me tell you, this is like when you're a kid and you're creating a wrestler in a video game, and you give them all the jacket, the cigar, the hat, the cane, all the ladies walking. Oh, it's just so bad, dude. And like he's coming out here, and they do like a little recap on this show from their I guess main event or whatever their TV show was. And I guess so maybe you can tell me more about this. Was DDP's gimmick like the arm wrestler guy?
I think with Max Muscle being in his corner, it seemed like they sort of tried to go that route.
Yeah. But
I wasn't too sure.
Are you a big Max Muscle guy?
Max Muscle was Big Papa Pump before Scott Steiner was Big Papa Pump.
It's like you just take Scott Steiner and you just zap all the charisma from it.
Absolutely.
But
I always wondered why WCW didn't use guys like Max Muscle more. I mean, I know that his physique and his look fit more of WWE at the time.
Yeah.
But,
was he never in WWE, Max Muscle?
I don't remember. He might have been.
Right, yeah. It seems like a guy they would go after, for sure. Yeah. If nothing else, as like a jobber or something.
They had a lot of big, meaty guys come through that place.
I suppose. slapping some meat, some may say.
Yeah.
But, DDP on TV, he's been like arm wrestling guys, and he's using Max Muscle, who's his like bodyguard, I guess, to like help him cheat. Like Muscle will like put his feet out to give DDP leverage to win or like distract the other guy and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And so you see all that on TV and they're like, man, I bet people would pay to see this. So they put this on pay-per-view as well. So we got DDP versus Dave Sullivan in an arm wrestling match. I'm sorry, DDP versus Evad.
Yeah.
Which I guess... What is the origin of that name? Do you know?
I don't know.
Like, that's just the tip of the iceberg as far as confusion I have with Dave Sullivan and what he's doing here. But, so he's going by Evad, I guess. And I think that transitions into the Dungeon of Doom. Am I correct in that?
Yep.
So that's a thing. And then we have, so basically this arm wrestling match has high stakes anyways. So it has, so if DDP wins... Oh, by the way, I should lay the backstory here. Evad, for some reason, has a bunny, a rabbit, I guess. His name's Ralph the rabbit.
Ralph the rabbit.
And he seems very, the way he talks to this rabbit is, it makes me uncomfortable watching it. I'm just gonna
They're
say,
close friends.
Some may say too close. I think he's a little too close to that rabbit. But, not here to judge. Love who you want to love or what you want to love, but Evad's here. So the stakes here is if DDP wins, he gets Ralph, and if Evad wins, he gets to go on a date with the Diamond Doll, who is this DDP's wife, girlfriend, or just some floozy on the street?
What does DDP want with a rabbit?
Look here, bro. Look. I don't know. Maybe he's...
Oh, man.
I don't want to know what DDP... It's probably better than whatever Dave Sullivan has planned for this rabbit. So, honestly, I was kind of rooting for DDP here. But, so yeah, that's a thing. So they get in the ring. There's, the whole arm wrestling gimmick set up there. You know how it is. Dave Sullivan's in there in full wrestling attire for some reason. He put on knee pads for an arm wrestling match. I don't understand the logic. Maybe
he had a cool hat on.
Yeah, well, it didn't fit because of his big ass head. Did you see it? The buttons were the buttons they were unbuttoned, like the biggest hat he could find, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I can empathize with that. I very seldom find a hat that fit. I'm an 8 3/4 guy myself, so.
Okay. Yeah, my head's kind of. I mean, even with the hair, it's kind of.
Look, I wasn't gonna say anything, but yeah. Look, neither of us can make fun of his head here.
No,
okay?
no, not at all.
So yeah, Dave's in there. He's on one side. DDP's on the other. Dave turns his hat around. I mean, that shows it's serious business. Pikachu, I choose you. You know how all that goes. Yep. And so the arm wrestling match gets underway. It's back and forth. Oh, man. It's back and forth. And then Max Muscle, of course, is there. He tries to help DDP, but the ref, I believe it's Nick Patrick, he's wise to his ways, so he kind of yells at Max Muscle, tells him to back off. But Max accidentally bumps into the Diamond Doll, and he trips over her, runs into DDP. This messes DDP up, so this allows Evad to get the win in this arm wrestling match. So he wins a date with the Diamond Doll. What do you think that date is?
Probably a trip to the zoo.
Is that the equivalent to going to like a strip club? For Dave Sullivan? Oh yeah, those
Diamond Doll, let me show you the bunnies. I gotta show you the bunnies.
Oh no,
they do great things, Diamond Doll.
Get Allie from AEW away from him. That's all I gotta say.
Oh no.
Oh no, he would just explode. But yeah, so to speak. But we see Alex Wright, Brian Pillman, they're in there. They go like 15 minutes. Beautiful match, back and forth. You know, you got the moves, you got the flips, you got the selling, the great storytelling. And then we got DDP walking out here with a cigar and trying to fuck a rabbit. So you got any other thoughts on this match?
I mean, it wasn't not much. I mean, other than the fact that the cigar that DDP had looked like it was 10 days old. It was so soggy and it looked like just a big roll of paper. Dave Sullivan meant business. He really wanted this date with Diamond Doll. So like you said, he came prepared in his ring gear. He was ready for anything, any and everything at that point. But yeah, I mean, good for Dave, man.
Yeah, good on him. I hope it all works out for him. Man, the crowd could not give two fucks about Dave Sullivan.
Speaking of the crowd, earlier in the pay-per-view, Shivani had said that there was not one empty seat in the arena, and then they cut to a part where the complete opposite side, there's like a bunch of seats that are like wide open. I'm like, I thought you said this was sold out. Like, come on.
Hey, it's, they're all in the bathroom concession stand. They'll be back. The traffic,
To be fair, Hogan wasn't there, so.
Right. Yeah, where were they again? Do you remember?
It
was like Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is a big wrestling town, right?
Yeah.
So there's really no excuse, I guess. I guess Evad versus DDP in an arm wrestling match wasn't the marquee that people were looking for. But I'll tell you what probably was. It's probably what the crowd wanted was Jim Duggan versus Sergeant Craig Pittman. Do you like... All right, this is a very important question. Do you like Jim Duggan?
I do.
Fuck.
I'm sorry, Kyle.
All right. We'll finish the show out. It's fine. Just real quick, we'll bang it out.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's what. If nothing else, he's less annoying here than Craig Pittman is.
Oh man!
Can you describe? Because I'm unfamiliar with Sergeant Craig Pittman. This is the only Sergeant Craig Pittman match I've ever seen in my life. Can you describe him for the people?
I would say WCW's failed version of Sergeant Slaughter.
Okay. Yeah.
They tried to make him serious, but I think he was just a bit too goofy.
He had a bit of like a George the Animal Steel vibe to him.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I think it's like a blend of
absolutely.
Slaughter and Steel.
Yeah.
Because he's a drill instructor, I guess.
Yes.
But he has like the when he walks around like a I don't know, like low key or somebody like that. And but like I said, like George Animal Steel, like I'm expecting this guy to like rip like the turnbuckle off. Oh, at one point he does rip Duggan's knee pad off.
Yes.
I believe. I don't quite remember. It looked like he didn't like slide it. He didn't slide it around his foot. He just yanked it off his leg.
Yanked it completely off of his knee, which at that point I was like, whoa.
Savage. That's a savage. But this is a so I guess Pittman, this match felt like an MMA fight almost, but not like a 2021 UFC, like a 1995 UFC match when the guys like when there was no weight classes and guys and no gloves. Like you'd have a guy in a karate gi versus a guy that fought in a bar once and you'd throw the cage. Like that's the vibe I got from this match.
Oh,
it was
100%.
I don't know. What were your thoughts on the match in general, I guess?
The match in general, to me, I was kind of surprised that they had Craig Pittman get in such great offense throughout the entire of this match. I mean, usually Jim Duggan's matches are kind of like I would say medium squashes where his opponent would get a little offense in and then Duggan would just hulk up and he'd get the job done. But that wasn't the case in this match.
He'd get the job done. Jim Duggan doesn't do wrestling moves. He just runs into people and hopes to stay down.
Oh, he would just like I say, he would hulk up in a sense and just start going crazy around the ring, shoulder blocks and clotheslines. He had his 5 moves. Yep.
The 2x4, the thumbs up, and the pin. Those are his 5 moves.
And the tape. He used to wrap his fist up with the tape.
Oh, because that adds power to his punches. You see,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's why people wear wrist tape to add power to their punches. Oh man. But yeah, like you said, Pittman gets a lot of offense in this match. I guess he's portrayed as like the guy that knows submissions. So he's like attacking Duggan's knee. Like we said, he does like some submissions on his knee. He wraps Duggan's leg around the ring post at one point. Yeah. Like we said, just rips his knee pad off, which is a pretty cool visual, honestly. Yeah. Just really portrayed him like a psychopath. But ultimately, he actually ends up winning. Pittman ends up winning with an armbar, which is kind of bizarre. Like he's been working the leg the whole match, and then I guess that's his finish, the armbar. And I think it should be. I think Pittman. I think they said he had a match earlier. I guess it was like a dark match or whatever, and I guess he broke somebody's arm. So I guess that's like his gimmick, that he breaks people's arms. So I don't think he broke Duggan's arm here, but the finish is actually. Oh no! You know what? It's a DQ finish. So Pittman locks in the armbar. Duggan gets to the ropes, but Pittman doesn't break. So the ref DQs him. Yeah. So that's the finish. And Duggan grabs his 2x4, chases off the sergeant.
He almost hits him too. Yeah. Just as he jumps out of the ring, Duggan almost hits him right in the head with that 2x4.
Yeah. That'll make you run fast when you have Duggan chasing after you with his wood. You know, actually a spot that cracked me up in this match. There was a part where Jim Duggan, he like throws Pittman over the top rope. Which, by the way, why was that not a DQ?
Right.
But that happens a lot in this show. But I guess maybe they're like trying to phase it out, maybe. Yeah. But it's like a spot where Duggan's, laying in all this offense. He's like trying to like deposit him to the outside. But Pittman's like too athletic, so he like lands on his feet like by accident. And he's like, oh wait, I have to fall. Then he just like falls awkwardly after landing on his feet. But yeah, I don't know if we see too much more Sergeant Craig Pittman after this, but I was not a WCW watcher, so you might know more than me. Does this guy stick around much longer?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
He does.
Well,
he's around for a little bit.
Hopefully they have more rematches, because that was a sight to see, this match.
Oh, I'm almost positive 100% that this isn't the last time we see Jim Duggan and Sergeant Craig Pittman.
Oh, can't wait. Can't wait. 5-star classics every time.
Absolutely.
So after this, they go backstage. Mean Gene Okerlund standing with Steven Regal and Bob Eaton, the Blue Bloods. And so this pay-per-view is the Great American Bash. And now we have the Dirty Foreigners, the Blue Bloods here.
Yep.
They like reference the Revolutionary War. I don't know. They were babbling about a lot in this promo, but I guess it's promos in general on this show. Did any in particular stick out to you?
Not really. They all sort of felt like they always
You
do.
see, let me tell you something. There's not enough Hulk Hogan on this show. That's what was
definitely
missing. At least we got Macho. But yeah, we get like the cliche Macho Man promo. We get the Ric Flair promo, which is all good. But it's like, yeah, sure. But
Ric Flair's promos were always a treat to watch because, you never really knew what he would say. You knew he was going to say a lot of the same things, but you never really knew. He would throw in things just randomly, and then the girls would always mess with Mean Gene. So
yeah,
that was always fun to watch.
Always a good time.
Hogan.
That's pretty good Flair. Let me tell you something. Macho, I took your wife in 92. And I took your dad. That's slavery. I do a terrible Flair, but all you gotta do is yell.
Close enough.
And it'll get you. It'll get you there.
Yeah, close enough.
But so after that, we have a tag team match. Got the Harlem Heat versus the Stud Stable, which is a team of Bunkhouse Buck and Dirty Dick Slater.
That's right.
Which I was surprised that he was wrestling at this point, but he was. Yeah, you a big Dirty Dick Slater guy?
Yes. Bunkhouse Bunk. It's one thing that cracked me up about him when he would make his entrance to the ring, he would be, making his entrance, he'd look straight at the camera and go.
I was watching and I was like, oh, okay.
Whoa.
All right, easy, Punk.
Relax.
But this match, I mean, they're two heel teams at this point. Not a lot of heat to it. It's like the Harlem Heat were kind of like in a holding pattern here because they're going to be inserted into the title picture later. But this is just kind of a way, I guess, to get them on the pay-per-view. Crowd wasn't into it. Heenan even was like, on commentary, he was like, the crowd doesn't even care who wins this one. I was like, yeah, but you don't need. What's the Stephen A. Smith? Well, don't say that. I mean, you're not wrong. But
right.
Yeah. I mean, I had really no thoughts. Who even wins? The Harlem Heat wins. Booker locks Bunkhouse Buck into a small package. Colonel Parker gets in there, shoves him to reverse the pin, but then Sherry comes in after that to reverse it again. And gives the Harlem Heat the win. So the Harlem Heat win. And like I said, this kind of just sets them up to be in title contention later down the line. But yeah, any other thoughts on this match?
So this whole match and this feud, I guess, between these two teams, it seemed like it was more about Sherry and Colonel Parker.
Yeah.
Than it was about the four men involved. That's one thing. So it was always funny to watch the Harlem Heat versus any Colonel Rob Parker teams because it would always become more about Sherry and Colonel Rob Parker, and she would always kick his ass. So that was fun. But another thing that stood out to me was the ending when Booker had him in the roll up, and Colonel Parker pushes them over, but then Sherry comes in and pushes Booker over on him. And then Dick Slater is just standing there as the referee counts 1, 2, 3, literally just standing there, and then kind of like looks around like, what's going on? What? I'm like, come on.
Dirty Dick.
Could have got at least had a better ending than that.
Well, he was, he thought Buck had the pin and he was, trying to defend against Stevie Ray. It was the whole thing. It was, so that's what he was doing. Just looking at the camera too much. But I'm actually glad he brought up Colonel Parker and Sherry being in a feud because here's the build to this match, which I forgot to mention because I showed this before the match. Colonel Parker pretty much just sexually assaults Sherry. Just grabs her and kisses her, and then Sherry slaps her, and then now we have the match.
Yep.
1995, everybody.
In a nutshell.
But I guess, the Heat get the win, get their heat back, so to say. No.
Yep.
And so yeah, that was a match that happened. But so after this, they recap once again to main event in the weeks leading up to this show. And I guess there was a segment where Nick Bockwinkel, who's like the commissioner, GM kind of authority figure for WCW at this point, Vader confronts him on the stage because I guess he wants a title match with Hogan. And Hogan comes out, hits Vader in the back with a chair. They have a whole pull apart. They want to kill each other. And then cuts back live to Nick Bockwinkel once again, who is standing with Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan at the commentary table. And he's there to announce the main event at the next pay-per-view, which doesn't remember what the pay-per-view is, Nick Bockwinkel, but it's, minor detail. What's the show? Bash at the Beach. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Says it's going to be Hogan versus Vader in a solid steel cage.
That's right.
For the world title. So I guess that's the blow off of their feud. What'd you think? Because Hogan and Vader, neither guy shows up on this show, even though they kind of tease it a little bit. But this match is announced for Bash at the Beach a year later after Hogan debuts in WCW. What did you think of like the Hogan Vader feud in general?
It was okay. I felt like, obviously put the big guy against Hogan.
It's the formula.
Yeah, absolutely. And it worked for the most part until they ran out of big guys to put up against Hogan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was good though. I believe it was going to be for the title, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because I can't remember if Hogan was the champ at the time. So
he was. Yeah, he won it at. Was it Bash at the Beach where he won? I think it was.
Yeah, it was Bash at the Beach. Okay, so he had it that long, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Sheesh.
It's what's funny? I can't remember when the last time he defended it was, because the last show, Slamboree, he was in a tag team match, so he didn't defend it there. The one before that was uncensored, and there was no title matches because it was uncensored and unsanctioned.
Yep.
I don't even know if he defended it at the one before that. So it's been like probably 4 or 5 months since he's defended the title at this point.
Yeah. The most prestigious championship in all of professional wrestling.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what is. It's the TV title, the WCW
Absolutely.
TV title, especially with who walks out as champion, really adds to the prestige.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna give you a chance to redeem yourself.
It's my favorite.
You better be talking about Arn Anderson.
Oh.
Please do not sit there and tell me that you are a fan of the Renegade. Oh.
Wait, Kyle, listen to me real quick.
Yep.
I genuinely thought the Renegade.
No. Don't say it. Look, we were both bamboozled by FTR on AEW. It's fine. All right? They were wearing masks.
I really thought that the Renegade.
Yeah? Well, what'd you think he was?
I thought he was the Ultimate Warrior.
Okay. Yep. Well, yeah, they're both people. They both have arms and legs and hair. So,
excuse me. Listen, I listened to your Slamboree.
Yep.
And you mentioned the Renegade.
I did.
Or the Ultimate Warrior.
Okay. Tomato, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, it was only right.
Yep. He's so you're a big fan of the Renegade. What's your favorite? What draws you to the Renegade?
Well, now that I think about it, was he the Renegade or was he Rob Van Dam? I don't know.
He's closer to Rob Van Dam, I think.
The tights. It seemed to be a trend back then, though. Anybody who was managed by Jimmy Hart had like colorful tights or tights with their opponent on it, or the championship that they held, graffiti, whatever. So I liked that style of gear that the Renegade had. And I mean, he reminded. I thought he was the Ultimate Warrior at the time. So
yeah, man,
I was like, wow, like this man.
When you found out that he was not the Ultimate Warrior, was that like Santa Claus isn't real? Was that like one of those deals?
Absolutely.
But you felt like a real goose when you found that out.
Yeah, definitely.
But for some reason, he has a title shot against the TV champion, who is Arn Anderson. So Arn, if you're gonna have somebody to carry Renegade to a match, it's Arn Anderson. And so Renegade debuted, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months before this. And I've yet to see this dude do any offense of any sort. Like, I'm convinced they're like, wow, this guy's so unathletic. We can't trust him to throw a punch because he's going to hurt somebody. Yeah. So I see this on the card and I'm like, wow, what's going to happen here? And the first bit of offense, I don't know why this made me belly laugh so much when I saw this. So his first offense that Renegade ever does on pay-per-view, he whips Arn into the corner and just runs into him, and then they both fall down. Like, it's it was so clumsy. It was like, of course that's where, like, you know, you see someone like Renegade who is supposed to be Ultimate Warrior-esque. You would think he'd be more like, I don't know, explosive maybe. Yeah, he's definitely a good athlete because he does the little spot where he like jumps over the top rope to the floor, lands on his feet. Like, he moves around. I guess his footwork's okay, but like, felt like this match was like a lot of abdominal stretches and headlocks. You'd think Renegade would be like suplexing him and, you know, gorilla press and all that stuff. And then we just have, you know, Renegade. He comes out here, you know, the camera's shaking. He's red hot. And then abdominal stretch. It's like, all right.
He looked like a mixture of the Ultimate Warrior, Rob Van Dam, but they tried to make him Sting in the ring.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what their thought process was. The crowd, just like, you know, some of the matches before this, they were not into the Renegade here. They were definitely pro Arn Anderson. Yes. They were chanting DDT throughout the entire match. And at one point, Arn hits the spine buster to a major pop. The crowd loves it. Renegade kicks out at 2. So this causes Arn Anderson to go to the top rope, as he often would. I guess I don't know why he thought this was a good idea. But he's cut off by Renegade. So you got Arn is sitting on the top rope. Renegade kind of hits a Samoan drop type of move onto Arn Anderson. And Renegade goes to the top rope, hits a big splash for the win. Pins Arn Anderson. And Renegade is the new WCW World Television Champion. Yep. This dude gets pyro. He gets a championship celebration, the Renegade does. This asshole with an R painted on his face.
Felt like WrestleMania when the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, the boyhood dream. The boyhood dream has come true. Oh, I got confetti. It's all. And if you're like, man, not quite wacky enough, I need some more. Well, just to add to this, the Big Show, the Giant, Paul White is ringside. He, but we don't know he's the Giant. We don't know what his name is or why he's here. I don't even think he's, you know, in kayfabe, a part of WCW at this point. But he's ringside, and Renegade wins. He walks out with the title, and Paul White stands up, and then they stare down each other. Him and Renegade do. Yep. Man, oh boy. A green Big Show versus a green Renegade match. That just sounds awful.
It does.
Please tell me it happens. Does it happen?
You know what? Now that I think about it, it may have.
I hope it does. That sounds like a car crash I would love to see.
It may. If it did, I know it was certainly a squash. If it did.
Right, because isn't Big Show's first match against Hulk Hogan for the title?
I believe so.
Or like very early on, so maybe it just doesn't kind of materialize into anything. But could be just like a Dungeon of Doom, like, you know, Paul White's in the Dungeon of Doom, Renegade's on the other side. It's like I don't know. you know, gang warfare type of stuff. But,
Jimmy Hart on a pole match.
Well, baby. But you brought up like the graffiti. Like the Nasty Boys had like the jackets with the graffiti with their faces on it, and Renegade. You could tell it was all done by the same person.
Yep.
Which brings us to this next match. So we have the tag titles on the line. The Nasty Boys versus the Blue Bloods. Bobby Eaton and Steve Regal. Oh man, they are I'm gonna tell you what. I don't know why I love the Nasty Boys so much, but
yes,
I'm a Nasty Boys mark at this point. They're just so like in previous like the Harlem Heat stud stable match. The crowd didn't care. This match, they were all into. You know, it's not like the talent was like drastically different between the two, but they were just way into this match. Maybe it's because like we said, it's Great American Bash. You have the dirty foreigners from the UK versus the Nasty Boys, which I guess encompass what America is, unfortunately. But I really enjoyed this match for what it was. What about you?
I did too. And the Nasty Boys, they were nasty.
And they were boys.
Young. Yeah, absolutely. I remember watching and being like, "Oh, these guys are gross," but they can really wrestle. Yeah. And I'm actually a little surprised here that the Nasty Boys picked up the win.
Yeah. Well, but hey, the way it happens was kind of because it sets. I think the next pay-per-view, it's a triple threat match for the titles, and the win was kind of like a fluke, kind of accidental thing. So the match happens. It almost feels like a tornado tag a lot of the time. It's very chaotic.
A lot of WCW's tag matches felt like that, though.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Especially if it involved the Harlem Heat, Public Enemy, or the Nasty Boys. Right. It always felt like a disaster tornado Chicago street fight. No matter where they were on that night. It was Chicago, New York, Ohio, Charlotte. It didn't matter.
Yeah. Always. It's always Pity City, wherever they are. And they do that in the beginning of the match. It's where they take their opponents and put their face in their armpit, which doing that to Regal and Eaton and their facials, like reacting to it is just, it's so perfect. It's like that famous GIF when Rikishi gets the stink face and he's like, it's the same deal.
Oh, man.
Like, I don't know. Only the Nasty Boys can get me to pop for an atomic drop on a steel chair. I think the atomic drop needs to come back as a finisher, personally. Yikes. It's so good. But they get in the ring finally. The Blue Bloods kind of take advantage once it becomes like more of a wrestling match. Yeah. When it stops, they stop fighting outside of the ring and they get back on the apron and stuff. But towards the end, Stevie Ray and Sherry come out to distract the ref. Booker T comes in on the other side, hits the Harlem Hangover onto Brian Knobbs, who's laid out in the ring. And as Booker T goes to like jump over the top rope to leave the ring, Bobby Eaton, who's on the top rope, he gets like shooken up by the ropes and he falls. Booker T wasn't trying to do this. It was an accident. So Bobby Eaton falls, and this allows Jerry Sags to hit an elbow drop from the top rope. Brian Knobbs makes the cover, and the Nasty Boys get the win. So it seemed like the Harlem Heat here were trying to screw over the Nasty Boys because they had been feuding for months and months before this. But lo and behold, they cost the Blue Bloods the win. And like I said,
T just making mistakes, man.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Oh.
My favorite part about that is like when he goes from this to like rubbing his hands like menacing.
Yeah, and then he's like,
flexing. If I flex my pecs enough, they'll forget what I just said. That's got to be close. When does that happen? Is that around this time?
Yeah. I think it is.
Yeah. because there was Sherry and Hogan's there, so it's got to be. I'll keep an eye out for it.
Yes. Oh my god.
But yeah, any other thoughts on this tag title match?
Not really. Just it felt like a normal, like I said, a lot of WCW tag matches, it was chaos. They always involved the Nasty Boys, Harlem Heat, or Public Enemy. So the Blue Bloods too every now and then, but it wasn't a WCW tag match if it didn't involve Harlem Heat and the Nasty Boys. So
right. Well, I'm enjoying the Public Enemy and ECW right now, so I'm sure I'll enjoy them just as much in WCW.
Yeah.
Oh man, but no. Yeah. So there it is. Hop. Yeah. Speaking of hop steppers, we got a few here. So we got the United States title on the line here.
That's right.
Actually, it's the finals of the tournament, because the title was previously vacated because so Vader won. He beat Jim Duggan for the title, but he was stripped of it. Yep, that one. And I guess Vader attacked Dave Sullivan and hospitalized him on TV. So Nick Bockwinkel stripped him of the title back in April or whatever. So they started a tournament to crown a new U.S. heavyweight champion, and now we're at the finals. Sting versus Ming. What are your thoughts on Ming, aka Haku?
Now listen, I loved Ming. That he was also him and Barbarian. Once they formed a tag team, they were also standard WCW. If it wasn't a Nitro if you didn't have them on it. You couldn't have a tag team match if you didn't have the Faces of Fear on the show. But yeah, Ming, he's Ming.
That's similar. I have similar thoughts. It's I wouldn't say he's good per se, but I love watching him, whatever he's doing. So maybe that means he is good. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's just so unpredictable and chaotic in his style. I don't know. He's just entertaining to watch in the ring. Yep. He's got the perfect babyface foil here in Sting.
Yeah.
So Ming's in there. It's all of his offense is shoo, hoo-wah, shoo. It's chops and tongue and nerve holds and my favorite. So there's a point where I think Sting goes for a sunset flip, and Ming tries to counter it. He's not going down, so he does the whole yeah. It's he charges up all of his strikes.
Yes.
And so it's a lot of that. But then out of nowhere, Ming, he busts out the most perfect sit-out powerbomb that you'll ever see. So it's out of all the chaos, he does these really good technically sound moves.
That's right.
And Sting is Sting. We know who Sting is. Mm-hmm. But when I was watching this match, a lot of his comebacks, Sting's, they seemed almost sloppy at some points, but almost more realistic.
Right.
The way he would, there was one point where it's he went to jump up for a drop kick, but he didn't really know what he wanted to do until he was in the air. So what ends up happening is really weird, Van Damme, karate kick, which seemed out of place for Sting.
Yeah.
But it made it feel organic because he'd get whipped into the ropes, and then he'd just springboard off the ropes and just throw his body at Ming. Kind of almost like a coffin drop at one point in this match. Kind of some foreshadowing there. Kind of looks like Darby Allin now that I think about it. Just a jacked up Darby Allin.
Yeah.
Man.
I always try to picture Sting with only half of his face painted back then.
I could see it. I could see it. But Sting at one point locks in the Scorpion Deathlock. Ming powers out with his strong, powerful legs. and Sting hits him with a chop block, goes to the top rope, hits a clothesline from the top. Then Sting goes back to the top rope and hits a splash, only a 2 count. So he's throwing all this huge offense at Meng. It's not taking him down. It's not taking him out. I mean, it's taken him like throughout the entire match. It took him forever to even knock him off his feet. Yeah. But now he's got him off his feet finally. And then Sting hits like a jumping DDT to follow up all that offense. And that gives him the wins. So Sting wins, new U.S. champ. And yeah, that happened.
It definitely did happen. Stinger going into Bash at the Beach as the new United States champion. I believe Bash at the Beach is in his hometown or
of course,
something like that. So, I mean, of course, you got to put the belt on the Stinger. This match was good. It was old, to me, it was old fashioned, like Sting. I mean, it wasn't any different from Sting versus like Vader or anything like that.
Yeah.
Sting always gave it all he had. And, of course, he came out with the W.
Yeah. I mean, probably the best babyface they have in the company at this point, I guess, other than Hogan. Yeah. But yeah, he just did everything so well. Sting
didn't lose very much in WCW, especially at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, nobody needs we don't need to talk about that. That's details.
Yeah. Oh.
So Sting's the U.S. champion. Yeah, again, so we have the Nasty Boys win their title match against the Dirty Foreigners. Now we have Sting winning against the Dirty Foreigner here to win the U.S. champion. So
Colonel Robert Parker is not having a good night.
No, he's so he's in a bit of a rebuilding process, I guess. This Colonel Parker.
Yeah.
Stud stable, not so studly after all, I guess. But that brings us to the main event. Randy Savage versus Ric Flair. Who, man? So backstory here is so Flair was forced to retire after losing to Hogan at Halloween Havoc in the steel cage, but did not last long, as Flair would kind of appear in the crowd at the pay-per-views that came after it, distracting Macho Man. At one point, it was at Uncensored. Flair dressed as a woman in the crowd to, I guess, be incognito about it, jumps the barricade, attacks Macho Man, cost him his match against Avalanche. And I guess Flair's motivation here is to kind of get Macho Man to be like emotional, to try to take advantage, to get Macho Man to demand Flair be reinstated. And this was solidified at the last pay-per-view, Slamboree, when in the main event after the match is over, Angelo Poffo, the father of Macho Man, was in attendance. Flair just beats the shit out of Angelo Poffo, locks him in the figure 4, sends him to the hospital, all that jazz. Yeah. And this is what led Macho to demanding to Nick Bockwinkel that Flair gets reinstated. So Flair's back here in the main event on Father's Day. I don't know if they planned that. If they did, that's genius. There's months leading up to it. Like this whole storyline that revolves around a father happens to be on Father's Day.
Hey, how about we have it the ending at Father's Day, brother? I think that'll be awesome.
It was funny. I covered In Your House, which is like maybe a month before this, whatever Mother's Day was. I guess the same every year. But In Your House was on Mother's Day, and every promo on that show, the WWF guys would always have to mention their mothers. Like, this one's for Mama Diesel or whatever. And then here, Father's Day, WCW, they're doing the same thing. The Nasty Boys are cutting a promo backstage. It's like, well, let me tell you something. This match is for Daddy Nasty. Like, they have to shoehorn it into every promo.
Yep. Of course.
Just reinforcing that's Father's Day. Guess we forgot.
You thought you were watching Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. Big yikes. But so yeah, Macho Man versus Flair. This is more of like a it's not like a 30-minute like 5-star classic that one might expect when seeing these on the card. There's a lot more storyline based, I feel like. But for what I mean, it's Macho Man and Flair. It's going to be entertaining. I mean, my main takeaway here was that like Macho Man had his intensity was like on a completely different level. Yeah. Like you really believe that he wanted to kill Flair here.
I'm almost surprised Savage didn't get disqualified. You know, every time Savage had a match that meant something to him, or if he was in like a feud where, you know, enough is enough. Like I need to get my hands on this guy. It's almost like he doesn't really care about wins and losses at that point. It's like I just want to kill him. But you know, definitely Randy Savage always had like a certain intensity about him. Mm-hmm. He was always, you know, ready to go no matter who his opponent was. And Flair, you know, just being Flair, we got all the Flair classics. Mm-hmm. All the classic stuff from Flair in this match.
All the helicopters you can want in this match.
Oh no!
No! Oh no! Yeah, we're not there yet. I'm sure he's just a gentleman at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
The Nature Boy.
The Nature Boy. So really, the story here is so Daddy Macho Man's ringside. He has the cane because of the previous attack. Mm-hmm. At one point, Flair teases attacking Angelo Poffo, which this pulls Macho Man out there. He tries to defend his dad, which gets him distracted and allows Flair to hit a chop block onto Macho Man.
That patented chop block.
Oh man, gets you every time. So he does like the knee drop onto the barricade, starts working the leg of Macho Man. That's pretty much the story of the match, as per most Flair matches, obviously with the figure four. Yep. And that was the story. Like Macho Man would start to get offense, and then Flair would just kick him in the knee. Just like a very, you know, classic kind of Ric Flair type of match here. Mm-hmm. At some point, Savage starts to get some momentum. Flair rolls to the outside. Macho Man goes for a double axe handle to the outside, but Flair evades, and Macho Man takes a brutal bump onto the barricade. And this Flair takes this as a opportunity to go fuck with Macho Man's dad again. So he goes over to him, and good old Angelo fights back with his cane, starts choking out Flair with it. And Flair does like the elbows Macho Man's dad, takes his cane, gets in the ring. Macho Man's back up. He checks on his dad. Hey, yo, dad, you okay? He gets in the ring. That damn Ric Flair still has that cane. Turns around, whacks Macho Man right in the face with his cane. Gives Ric Flair the win. Man, I don't know if that was just like the perfect camera angle or if he just actually clocked him in the face with his cane, but it looked really good. And I thought that was it almost felt like this match had another gear to it. Like it almost felt like an abrupt finish. Yeah. But it makes sense, you know, so I didn't really have much of a problem with it.
Macho Man always had like these sympathetic losses, like, and what I mean by that is like whenever he would lose, you end up feeling bad for him in the end. Like he would always get screwed out of something, even if the loss really didn't mean much to him. Because like I said, at times you really like wins and losses seem to not matter to him unless the title was on the line, of course. But it's like he would always try so hard to, whether he was, you know, fighting for Elizabeth or fighting for WCW, representing the company, fighting for, you know, his friends, or it didn't matter what he was fighting for. He was going hard every single time. And, you know, more often than none, he would always come up with just a little bit short, especially when going up against someone like Flair, who's the dirtiest player in the game.
Yeah, he sure is. And in more ways than one, I guess. But no. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about old shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You're totally right about Macho Man, and that really made the match seem like a true personal issue, which sucks the viewer in. And ultimately, I guess that's the point at the end of the day. And this match, I feel like, left you wanting Ric Flair to get his comeuppance, which I looked at the card after this, and they have a rematch what do they call it? It's like a lumber.
They call it a lifeguard something.
It's like a lifeguard lumberjack match or something.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen this match. I can only. I have many images in my head of what this is going to be, and none of them are good. So.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see on that one, I guess. But man, so
you're in for a treat.
Deep into 95 WCW. It's still got the Dungeon of Doom to get into, but
yep.
That's what this show needed. They didn't have any Kevin Sullivan matches.
No.
That takes it down at least a star for me.
A little bit. You're right. You're absolutely right. They're missing a big chunk of what was putting WCW over the hump. They're almost there, though. They were almost there.
Was that Kevin Sullivan? Was he the one pushing them? Okay.
Yeah, Sullivan was causing all types of problems.
I can't argue with you there. Oh, man.
All types of issues, A lot of things going on backstage,
Oh, we're not even into it yet, man. We're in early Bischoff days. This is only Nash ain't there yet. Scott Hall.
No.
We're just we're peaking. We're peaking. we're just enjoying bright faced Alex Wright and Brian Pillman. Oh, but
the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well.
Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, that's what this show needed. Rob Van Dam.
Renegade truly was one of a kind, though.
You're not wrong. He was unique. Well, not even, because he was the Ultimate Warrior, so he wasn't even that. One of a kind. What are you talking about? You thought he was Ultimate Warrior. That's two of a kind.
Right. That's true.
But anyway, yes, that brings the show to a close. Any other thoughts on a Great American Bash 95?
No, I mean, that's what it was. It was Great American Bash 95. I think, actually it's a year prior to, in my opinion, what I felt like was one of the greatest Great American Bashes of all time. But of course, obviously that was when everything was sort of different, Hall, Nash and all that. So,
right.
But yeah, it was okay. Like I said, it lacked, excitement. Like there was no world championship on the line. Hogan wasn't there.
Yeah.
No Vader. So yeah, it was a little weird. Felt like
very like nuts and bolts. It felt like wrestling. Like this is the wrestling show. Like WCW, like in this time period and like when they would become big, it was all about like the storylines and the crazy characters, which you got a little bit of that on this show, but ultimately it was just like, I mean, it was some good wrestling. I mean, probably in the shows that I've covered, and I started at Spring Stampede 94 and I've worked my way here. Yeah. This is by far probably the best in-ring, bell-to-bell action.
Yeah.
But I would agree. It lacked like a, like I said, Hogan isn't there. It's almost like this is kind of like a lead-in to Bash at the Beach rather than its own standalone like spectacle. It's almost like this is here to build up to Bash at the Beach rather than, be a standalone thing. But
this felt like a big TV episode of AEW Dynamite. That's what it felt like.
It just needed the green frogs or whatever.
And this was pre-cruiserweight division too. So
yes. I don't even know when that when is that really? Because Bischoff, it starts when Bischoff is there because he works with New Japan. He gets a lot of the guys over from there and Mexico and stuff. We're leading into it because they have made strides in the past year. Because like a year ago, you wouldn't have seen a match like Alex Wright versus Brian Pillman. You would have gotten Earthquake versus fucking Boss Man. So which I think they still do like after this. So I'm not pretending like we're away from that, but they do feel like the shows are starting to. There's more of like a like differences because like early like 94, early 95, some of the cards would feel like the same thing every match. Yeah. Like you'd have a babyface and then a heel of some like occupation, like a plumber or a jail guy or whatever, some big bald dude. And the
Johnny
heel
B. Bad, you could throw him in there.
Oh man. Enough of Johnny B. Bad. Stupid tan. Little Richard asshole. Is he gone? Is he Mark Marrow yet?
Oh,
we gotta be getting close, right?
A little close.
Oh, I haven't seen Johnny Be Bad in quite a while, so I was wondering why I was starting to enjoy these shows more. I thought I had lots of reasons as far as how the show was struck. No, it's just no Johnny Be Bad. It makes a good show. But yeah, speaking of good shows, the Within the Ropes podcast. First of all, Brian, thank you for joining me. Taking the time to watch some Jim Duggan and Renegade.
I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, so where can everybody find you and listen to you?
You guys can find me on social media at Within the Ropes, at Brian Tronic as well. WithinTheRopesPodcast.com. That's where you can find all the episodes, brother.
Mm-hmm. You're very quick too. You like upload your episodes like before the shows even end somehow. You're like in some time machine.
Listen, I'm trying to get back on track too. I feel like I've been over the last few weeks. I went to SmackDown and Raw this past week, so like it's been hard to stay on track. And then like I got a little cough. Excuse me, I got a little cough. So I've been like, man, coughing all over my episodes. I'm like, oh god, I'll just record tomorrow. But hey, I appreciate. Thank you for having me on, man. I enjoy the show. I'm a freaking old school WCW WWF mark, so it's definitely great listening to all the reviews and being able to be here to be a part of one.
Absolutely, man.
Talking about the great Renegade.
Oh, hey, anytime Renegade has a monumental career moment, I'll be sure to bring you back on. So hopefully, you're never back on here. So, anyways. Once again, thank you to Brian from the Within the Ropes podcast for joining me on this show. Such a good time. Definitely going to be bringing him on again. That was a hoot, to say the least. But go check out his podcast, the Within the Ropes podcast. You can find it at withintheropespodcast.com. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Within the Ropes. Follow Brian on Twitter at Brian Tronic. All that info in the description as always. Go check out the video versions of my podcast too. Even if you don't watch them, just fucking turn it on. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, leave a comment, send me nudes, all the stuff that you do. And apronbump.com once again for all my full episodes. Quickly approaching episode 100. Got some really fun episodes to close out my first 100 episodes of the Apron Bump. Thank you guys so much for all the support thus far. Gonna continue to truck on because man, we got a lot of I'm at least gonna keep going until Renegade loses the title. I think at least that long, right? But yeah, that's all Daddy has for you today. Thank you guys so much for listening once again. Smooches, cheek kisses, belly button tickles. I'm hard.
Yeah. And the hardest, talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what hard is. Standing strong and proud, nothing I guess. Let's get started. It's the hardest.